Welcome. We're in Studio 6B, and I'm with Mr. John J. Jeckovich, the humble hero of World War II. Today's date is April 16th, 2025, and this year, Mr. Jeckovich is knocking on the door of 100 years old. You're knocking?
Yeah, I hear him knocking, yeah.
You were born in 1925. What a beautiful year.
Yeah.
You went through the Great Depression.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot. World War II. Bunch of businesses.
Yeah. Recession now.
What's that?
Recession now.
Yeah, but you did pretty good during your time.
Yeah.
You grew up and you were raised in Niagara Falls, New York.
Yeah.
And that was pretty nice then, wasn't it?
It was terrible now.
Yeah, but you had the best of the time though, because 100 years ago, all the immigrants coming in from Greece and Italy and Poland, they would all go to Niagara Falls. It was a beautiful town.
Yeah.
Factories and stores and restaurants,
Yeah.
and many mansions on the river just before the drop of the falls.
Yeah.
And didn't you work for a movie star?
Francis Tone.
He was dating Greta Garbo.
Yeah.
At 151 Buffalo Avenue. It was a gorgeous mansion, and you worked there, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
And what did you do on that Franchetone mansion?
Took the storm windows on, put it on, worked out cellar, worked in the basement for him. My father helped me, or I helped my father.
And how big was this mansion?
That was huge, huge.
And what did you build in the backyard for Franchetone's daughter?
A dollhouse.
A dollhouse.
Sally.
Yeah, beautiful. There's lines of mansions in Niagara Falls on Buffalo Avenue at that time, and now it's completely different, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's all gone.
All gone, turned into one big ghetto, right?
Yeah.
Interesting enough, when the Franchetones died, the estate was sold. The mansion was bulldozed down in 1960, and investors bought the property, and they have Parkway Apartments on it, high-rise, still to this day from 1960.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the functional obsolescence in those apartments that built in the 1960s? Low ceilings,
Yeah.
tiny kitchens, tiny opening doorways.
Yeah.
But something you can't take away, on the Franchetone mansion on 151 Buffalo Avenue, he was right on the water.
Yeah.
You heard that winding of those rapids, and within a couple feet, 100 feet down was a drop of the falls.
Yeah.
So you would listen to that day and night. What a beautiful sound. You worked in the backyard, didn't you hear it?
Yeah, I did that, yeah.
In fact, your laundromat was not too far from there.
2nd Street, 2nd and Niagara
Street. And when you went to collect your money at 2 o'clock in the morning, your laundromat was only a stone's throw from the actual falls itself.
Falls, yeah.
And didn't you hear the roar?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that beautiful? And then when you drove home with the money at 2 or 3 in the morning, just 3063 Orleans Avenue, and you go down the alleyway, you still hear the falls roaring.
Oh, yeah.
At 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Still roaring today.
Yeah.
But what the hell happened to the town?
Oh, going to hell.
What the hell? But then if you go just across the border, 500-600 yards, you're in Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Yeah.
And how is that, Mr.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. It was beautiful then, and it's beautiful now. So it gives you a pretty good example how politicians could destroy a town or make a town.
Yeah.
And they destroyed this place.
Oh, yeah, they're all mafia.
Vacant homes, people living in the street. It used to be considered a city. Now the population's down to 15,000, so it's considered a village. And the most population now that they got, there's no more Greeks, there's no more Italians, there's no more Polish. They're non-English speaking Pakistans.
Yeah.
People from Pakistan.
Yeah.
How things have changed. I guess coming from Pakistan, the ghettos of Niagara Falls look pretty luxurious.
Yeah.
Probably looks pretty luxurious to them, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Wow. There were 17 Catholic churches in Niagara Falls when Mr. Jeckovich was a boy. Now there's one. There was, I think, 11 Catholic schools in Niagara Falls. Now there's none.
Yeah.
There was one Catholic high school in Niagara Falls when Mr. Jeckovich was a boy. Now there's none.
I don't think that high school's open.
Gone.
It's gone, yeah.
Gone. Everyone left.
Yeah.
Everyone went south.
Yeah, they're down here.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're knocking their door in Florida.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing about Florida. The further south you go, the more north it becomes.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you get south, say Miami, everyone's from New York or New Jersey.
They're down there in Miami.
Yeah. So you go south, further south you go, the more north it becomes. What a lot of people don't know is that Florida used to be a very simple and easy and inexpensive place to live. No more.
Yeah.
Florida is getting very close to being so expensive as California.
Yeah.
Huge property taxes,
Yeah.
huge condo fees, huge HOA fees. And if you're lucky, maybe you can buy homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
But generally you can't.
Yeah. Taxes are high.
Taxes are tripled.
Yeah.
Tripled. And a lot of people that might have a beautiful home in South Carolina or North Carolina or Tennessee, they have a really big, nice, beautiful home. They move to Miami and they buy a condo. And
Oh, boy.
keep in mind this, you buy a condo for the simple reason is you can't afford to buy a home on the water. So you go to buy a condo. So you have to be very, very dumb to buy a condo. How do you sell the condos? You have to find another dumb person to buy it.
Yeah.
Because the problems is this. Condos have condominium boards, crazy people running them. They'll run you ragged. You won't have a minute to rest. The condo dues are high. Some of them are 10, 12, 15,000 a month for condo dues. And then your insurance is another probably a couple thousand a month to insure a condo. But an interesting fact, the laws were just passed in March of 2024. If a condominium has 3 floors or more, they have to have a reserve fund. Not one condominium has a reserve fund. So keep in mind, if you're in one of these condos in South Florida and you don't have a reserve fund, you might get hit with this assessment as low as $50,000 and maybe as high as $300,000 per unit. Get out of those condos. If you have the way to bail, bail, because it's going to be hard to sell condos. The Florida government recently closed down several condos in South Florida due to functional obsolescence. They're 30 or 40 years old and they need everything.
Yeah.
They need everything. And they came in one time and people were living there for 30 or 40 years, I imagine, if still alive, and the government condemned them. So what do? You lose your total investment.
Yeah.
You lose your total investment. So if anything you learned today from Mr. Jeckovich's speeches today, and that's what it's about, teaching a nice lesson to save you money and time and stress. Don't stress. Don't buy a condominium. Never do it. It's the worst investment you would ever make in your life. But you'll find out now a lot of people that came from northern states are moving back. It just Florida became too congested and too expensive. It's side by side with California.
They're taking the weather again.
Yeah, it's side by side. And like I said, you can't buy homeowners insurance. So what you do is you have to have your house paid off so you could go what they call going bare. You insure it yourself. If something happens, you paid. Because if your house, in most cases, is not 2013 and newer, you can't buy homeowners insurance from a legitimate insurance company. And if you're on the beach side, good luck.
Yeah.
No one will sell it to you.
Yeah.
No one will sell it to you.
Yeah, what's that?
No one will sell it to you.
Yeah.
So you're looking well today.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Did you have a nice dinner?
Oh, yeah.
I heard you had a manicure today.
Oh,
Your nails were cut and had a nice manicure.
Oh, yeah, I got my nails cut.
And I heard they gave you a beautiful shave at the beauty salon or barber shop and cut your hair.
Yeah.
You're looking very good. You're looking very good. Now today, being Mr. Jeckovich is a Roman Catholic and his mother was a devout Roman Catholic. Being it's April 16th, 2025, this is Wednesday of Holy Week. And we have a story similar to some of the spies that they had with World War II, but it goes back a lot further. And on this Wednesday of Holy Week, we speak of faith under fire. And it's hard to believe this, but it's true. Born in 1540, Edmund Campion was a brilliant student and studied at Oxford University.
Oh, yeah.
Big school, right?
Yeah.
He converted to the Catholic faith later in life and left England to become a Jesuit priest.
Oh.
Very honorable. Although, this is the interesting part, although it was high treason to practice the Catholic faith in England at that time.
Oh.
Could you imagine? At that time, it was high treason, penalties of death if you practice the Catholic faith. Wow, it keeps going. He snuck back into the country to minister to Catholics in secret. He celebrated Mass and administered the sacraments to those who would rather face death than abandon their faith. So here we go. He snuck back into the country and he administered the sacraments to those who would rather face death than abandon their faith. They wouldn't abandon their faith. To avoid detection, Campion also, this is talking about England now, could you imagine? To avoid detection, Campion often traveled around England in disguise. His work was dangerous, and royal spies were never far behind him. They have a lot of spies in England now.
Yeah.
They had a lot of spies in England 500 years ago. Wow. In 1581, he was arrested. Despite being offered health and wealth in exchange for denying his Catholic faith and turning in his co-conspirators would be simply people that were Catholics. That's what a co-conspirator. How far out of hand this got. Campion remained steadfast in his faith. On this day, in April 16th, 1581, which is often referred to as the Spy Wednesday, in the church we are reminded that Judas, we all know about Judas, betrayed Jesus for money. St. Edmund's witness can inspire us and give us strength to keep our gaze fixed on the Lord and to resist worldly temptations, especially in the face of persecution. So isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
500 years ago, you're a death penalty if you're a Catholic.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Mr. Jeckovich was from Company H, the 2nd Battalion of the 291st Regiment of the 75th Infantry Division of the U.S. Army during World War II.
16 minutes.
Mr. Jeckovich lives by the motto, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. I'm going to start reading. We're on the second time around in your book, Mr. Jeckovich, but I'll need your dog tag numbers.
42965.
Okay. Let me look for the chapter we left off on, and we'll get this going. Mr. Jeckovich, how many pages is your book?
849.
Wow. Mr. Jeckovich was born in 1925, right during the Great Depression. How'd that affect you?
Oh, I was young. I didn't figure it out. I had a warm home, well fed, good family.
You know, we get hundreds of text messages, and one of the top text messages, how much is your book and where can I buy it?
You can't sell it.
It's not for sale. It never was written for money. It'll never be for sale. There is an original copy, in the World War II Museum in New Orleans. And if you just listen to these 400 or 500 YouTube podcasts we made, it takes you from chapter 1 to the last, and now we're picking up again from the first chapter and taking it back all the way through the book again. We're on chapter 5, getting to know you. So why was the book written? The book was written to give youngsters an example, a roadmap to life.
Well, I don't know if that was the primary example.
What was it then?
I mean, I just wrote out of my own curiosity.
Yeah, and then also about how you as an 11-year-old boy, sole provider for your mother, which is Anna Targus Jeckovich, and to this day she died at age 89, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of lessons to learn in the book, and many times we talk about, ask Mr. Jeckovich about longevity, and there's many, many examples of how to live a long life, but basically you jogged for 80 years.
Yeah.
You never took a prescription, you never took a vitamin. You
A lot of it was the genes.
Yeah.
The genes, yeah.
And you still read the newspaper with 3 of them in the morning with no glasses. But some of the other messages in the book for longevity, making it to 100, which is tough. In fact, if you're 40 years old, you have literally a 10% chance of making it to 100. It's tough. It's tough to do. But some of the notes that we pulled out of the book are 40 bad habits to break if you want to have a long life. And I'll just read some of them. Procrastination, don't procrastinate. Overeating is a killer. Never self-talk, negative self-talk. People talk themselves down all the time, never do it. And if you don't exercise, you're in trouble. Didn't you exercise?
Yeah, I ran for 30 years, yeah.
How did you get started in reading and running?
Read Johnson's book.
Because your father died at 43 of a massive heart attack.
Yeah.
Your father was 43, working in cement and 3 other jobs, trying to give his family a better life. And he died at 43. When you started jogging,
12.
it wasn't acceptable. When you started jogging 80 years ago, what did people say to you?
Get off the road, you bum.
Get off the road, you bum. That's what they say.
Yeah.
People back then were ignorant of the fact that they were ignorant. He wasn't jogging because he did not have transportation. He was jogging for better health, right?
Yeah.
And it worked, didn't it? Then they also go as far as throwing things at you.
Yeah.
What did they throw?
Throwing stones, cans of beer, and everything else.
They throw empty cans of Genesee beer.
Yeah.
One time some wise guy threw a full cans of Campbell's soup and popped him in the head. Could you imagine all this for trying to jog and have a better life? I assure you, all those Weisenheimers that did this to Mr. Jeckovich 80 years ago, they're all pushing up daisies now. They're long gone. So here's other things to avoid. You can't avoid exercise if you want to live long.
Yeah.
And don't ever compare yourself to others. And don't ignore your mental health. A lot of people ignore their mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah, don't ignore your mental health. Like during World War II, there's many people that had post-stress syndrome,
Yeah.
traumatic syndrome, and that wasn't recognized then.
No.
Now it is.
Yeah.
But back then they just said, hey, you're shell shocked, get over it, move on.
Yeah.
Walk it off.
Yeah.
Walk it off.
Yeah.
That's how it was back then. And don't overindulge in junk food, and don't stay up late. Oh, here's another one. Smoking, don't smoke. Stop constantly complaining and blaming others. Here's a big one. Holding on to grudges. Easier said than done. Grudges is hate. Hate is simply a curved blade. The more you hate, the more it'll hurt you. Hate is a curved blade. The more you hate, the more it'll hurt you. A grudge is simply hate.
Yeah.
Hard to get rid of grudges though, and happiness is basically good health and a bad memory. Bad memory what? What bad memory? Forget about the things people did to you. That's the part of the bad memory. That's hard to do also. Let's go on some of the other tips you got. Skipping meals is no good either. Drinking too much alcohol is right. We know about holding on to grudges. Multitasking too much is no good. And overworking without taking breaks. Those are very important. Let me just highlight some of the others. Oh, engaging in toxic relationships. That's the worst.
The what?
Engaging in toxic relationships. Being with people that are really no good for you. The
Yeah.
easiest thing to do is just go. Like, an example of that would be if you have a company and you hire employees, it's very important that you know, hire slow. Hire slow. Vet that person really good. Take 2 days, 3 days to get to know the person and hire them.
Yeah.
Because if you hire the wrong person, you're really screwed.
Yeah.
So the key is hire slow, fire fast. Why do you fire fast? Because if that person is not a good person for your company, if he's not a reliable person for your company and producing things for your company, you don't need him. You don't need to be his rich uncle or his rich aunt. Fire fast. If an employee doesn't work, fire fast. Hire slow, fire fast. If you don't do that, you'll never, ever have a successful business.
They sold this company.
Yeah,
They had a big meeting today. They
Yeah.
had new owners.
yeah. But Jake is here, so that's good.
Yeah.
He's not going off. That's good. We'll talk about that. And another thing that will steal your longevity is trying to please everybody. Trying to please everyone will never work. Yeah. So there's a lot of good things we get from the book. It's really amazing the long list that we read. And it's 849 pages of good stuff. So Mr. Jeckovich's mind is like a library. Once again, if you have any questions from him of any nature or any subject, text him. He responds to all. His number is 407-366-0000. 407-366-0000. So I'm going to pick up the second time around on chapter 5, Getting to Know You. And that's a lady, that's a girl I should say, you met in
Owensboro.
7.
Owensboro, Kentucky,
Yeah.
while you're on leave,
Yeah.
for a week on leave.
Yeah.
Her name was Ann Mahaney. You met her by accident.
Yeah.
What a beautiful story. So give me your dog tag number. We'll knock off the
42965.
Okay. That'll open up the computer. And this is talking about the second or third days with Ann Mahaney. As we prepared to leave the parking lot, I reached over, took her in my arm, and kissed her. We embraced and kissed for several minutes, and as I released her, I quickly apologized for my zeal. She responded by reaching over and kissing me and gently touching me on the cheek with her hand. We embraced once again and held each other closely. It was about 2400 hours, and we stopped at the all-night eatery off a US 60 bypass. US 60 bypass is still there.
Yeah.
Just a lot more stores. It was crowded and noisy, so we hurriedly consumed our sandwiches and drinks and returned to the car. Ann stated it was getting late and thought we should start back to Weatherbury. That's where she went to school. That was at college. I agreed. Several minutes later, we arrived at Weatherbury, and Ann parked the car on the east side of the building. I grasped her hand in mine and told her that I had a terrific time today and wished that we could do it every day. She agreed and stated she also enjoyed herself immensely and would like going out again. I reached over, put my arm around her, and she rested her head on my shoulder. We sat and talked about many things, my life in the Army, my plans after the Army, and if I had a steady girlfriend at home. I told her that there was no one at home that was special, and as far as I was concerned, she was the only special one to me. She kissed me on the cheek and said that we do not know each other all that long, but she felt she knew me for far better than the short time we had spent together. I agreed and said that was exactly how I felt the first time we had met, and that there was something greatly mystical about our relationship. We talked a little bit about my family life at home and the death of my father. She explained with a sigh that her father was killed in an automobile accident several years ago. So you both don't have fathers.
Yeah.
As we both smiled at a coincidence, I kissed her and held her in my arms, thinking how fortunate we both were that we had each other. After a while, Ann said it was getting late and we should be getting back home. I asked her what her plans were for the next day. She hesitated for a moment and then said that she would be here a little after noon. She was going to church with her mother earlier, and I nodded in agreement and stated that I would be only a minute, and I wanted to go to my room at the inn and get my phone number to give it to her. So you ran upstairs to the bed and breakfast and you gave her your phone number, right? She seemed perplexed and puzzled and asked why we would need my phone number. I retorted that she would need the number to call me when she reached home. So it was just for her to call you and let her know that she was at home, right?
Yeah.
I retorted that she would need the number to call me when she reached home. She smiled and kissed me and said ever so gently, "Thank you." Minutes, please.
Three.
We have a lot of text messages. Do you feel up to answering?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What made your family, when you were growing up in Orleans Avenue, truly unique compared to the other families on the street?
Well, they spoke English. There was no Italian and Polish next door. Polish, Italians on the other side. We spoke English.
Tell us how that worked. What did your father say?
He said, "We're in America now. We don't talk Russian. We don't talk Polish. We talk English."
And that's how come you don't have an accent.
Yeah.
Did your neighbors have an
Oh,
accent?
Belinsky's got a terrible accent.
Like how would he sound? So for your father sticking by that strict rule, it was a lot better.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd have a horrible accent right now, right?
If you talk to regular at home, yeah, you pick it up fast.
As a teenager, Mr. Jeckovich, were you rebellious?
No.
As a boy, Mr. Jeckovich, did you participate in the Boy Scouts?
I went with my brother for a couple of times. I didn't like it.
Didn't like it, just
No,
didn't fit?
Troop 22.
What was it called?
Troop 22.
1.5.
Where was that at?
On the downtown section someplace on one of the side streets. That's where Reynolds had his home.
But you didn't like the Boy Scouts then?
No.
Did you like school?
Oh, did I like school?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like school, yeah.
And what was your grammar school you went to?
What?
What grammar school did you go to?
Went to that Sugar Street School.
Sugar Street's torn
Then I
down.
went to Niagara Street School.
That was close to
And
your
then
house.
Niagara Falls High School and Tribe Vocational.
And you walked there, right?
Oh,
There was
yeah.
no such thing as parents taking you.
No.
No such thing as buses either.
No.
You're on your own, yeah. That's interesting.
1 minute.
And then tell us about when you went to high school. You went to two different high schools simultaneously. Tell us how that worked.
Well, I went to trot half a day, and I went to high school the other half.
And which one was first?
High school was first, and trot was second.
So you walked from your house to Niagara Falls High School. Did you walk with who?
By myself.
And then after classes were done, half day at Niagara Falls High School.
I walked to trot.
And after trot, you walked all the way back.
No, and I walked to Kresge's. I worked.
Oh my word! You walked to downtown Niagara Falls now.
Yeah. I worked. Well, my mother was working there too.
Wow.
15 seconds.
So how many miles was that a day?
About 5-6 miles.
Every day.
Yeah.
Wow. You got some damn good exercise.
Huh?
You got some damn good exercise in.